Media transmissions from Earth have polluted the Milky Way galaxy with completely unwatchable content. Fearing these signals will spread beyond our galaxy, Captain S and the 01 Legion have headed to Earth to destroy the source of this woke mind virus.
Ladies and gentlemen, how was that for an intro? I hope you're ready for a great show because we've got a lot to get through tonight. Take it away, Cider.
Look, I know Bob Iger is struggling right now. Has he thought about putting a chick in his movies and making her gay?
I really like the part where I was promoted to commander, even though I didn't apply for the position, but still, love it.
Oh man, what are you talking about? It's like, forget the command, like the actual ranks. It's like I could see all the inspirations. There's Blade in Jacob. There's Commander Harlock in Cider. There's the Avengers Endgame time travel suits for Josh. It's all pretty appropriate.
Yeah, it's very
anyway, right. So yeah, first of all, let's get tonight started. Guys, welcome to the very first episode of the 01 podcast. Or the 01 live stream. So obviously, guys, there's been a lot of changes going on around Bounding into Comics these last 2 weeks. The biggest of which I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, a lot of you have already seen, maybe even followed him over to his new endeavor. But John F. Trent, our founder, the guy who started this all, after nearly a decade, has decided to go on to greener pastures. So I'm not going to get into why he left. He can tell you himself. It's nothing bad. It's just not my story to tell, right? So he is now the editor-in-chief over at That Park Place, which you guys may know is the creative media endeavor being run by Jonas Campbell and WDW Pro. It's a fantastic news site. They're aiming to be, a giant alternative in the world of entertainment, media, news, all that fun stuff. They have a greater focus on Disney specifically. So they also branch out into theme parks and just all the stuff that Disney touches. So that's where John is now. But fear not, because you still have this gang of rabble makers here to entertain you. So
don't worry, there will not be a lack of an N-word on this show. I guarantee you that. So if you're worried about
neighbor, that's right.
He's given us all passes to say no, right? That's the N-word. No,
that's the word.
So, with that, John is now over at That Park Place. We here at Bounding into Comics are still going to be here. We're still going to be writing for you. We're still going to be publishing videos, articles, all that fun stuff. Obviously, with John gone, we had a vacancy at editor-in-chief, which I am now stepping into the role of. So I am now Bounding into Comics editor-in-chief. And I will be here to guide all of us through. Thanks, Cider. I will be here to guide us through this next chapter in Bounding's history. It's going to be great. Trust me, guys, I'm not going to suddenly overrun John's vision. Obviously, you guys have been here for a while. You know who I am. You know how I think. It's going to stay primarily the same. And I say primarily because the only change I can really foresee is that I'm on the West Coast. So I get up later than John, obviously. So news will probably start rolling out a couple hours later than they normally would. But aside from that, Jacob is still here to keep you appraised of movies and all of the witches in Hollywood. Cider's here bringing you the greatest video production, video content ever. He has, if you haven't noticed, he has taken over our daily uploads and he is killing them already. He's got, I think your second was today, right, Cider? You don't know? No idea.
I was busy with 01, so I missed it.
Okay.
So today would have been the third one, but I'm sorry.
Today would have been 3. I saw the second one today. Right.
Yep.
So I saw so that is what. So yes, Cider's still there, still handling our videos. Josh is still here editing. He is going to be my sort of right-hand man when it comes to those duties. So you might not see a lot of headlines from him, but you'll definitely see a lot of work coming out from him. Nerdigans is obviously still with us. She will be covering all the anime. We're readjusting sort of her focus to bring more content, better content, less generic announcement content. It's going to be great. We also have 4 new creators joining our team. Cider, do you have the pictures? Were you able to grab those or no?
No, sorry.
Okay, yeah,
I can grab them right now, though. No problem.
Genuinely not even a problem. If you get them, you get them. If not, if not. So joining our team over here at Bounding, we will soon have, like I said, 4 new contributors. 2 of them you've already sort of seen publishing articles. 2 of them have yet to get their stuff out. So the first 2 who have already made their debut is, the first one is a man by the name of Selver, and I'm so sorry if I say this wrong, but Selver Katic. He is a YouTuber who we've recently tapped to write more, what do you call it? Like in-depth, not philosophy, but he knows the industry. He talks from industry standpoints as a writer, as a filmmaker. So we're going to be getting some insights from him. He also has a fantastic YouTube channel, which either tonight or tomorrow, either Cider or I will come in and we'll add it to the description down below. I watched a couple. He's doing anime reviews right now, but they are, guys, like they have the best production value. They make me laugh. Like I was watching them all yesterday and I couldn't stop. So definitely check out his stuff and look forward to more of his articles. The second author who has already come out and started publishing stuff is one Stephen Kent. Now, Stephen Kent is an author in his own right. He is the host of the Geeky Stoics podcast. You may have seen him around on The Blaze, where he sometimes serves as a contributor, but he will be our primary Star Wars guy going forward. Obviously, we all know that John was just like, he was the man when it came to Star Wars. He could find any Star Wars tip any day. And obviously that's not my field. I kind of tapped out of Star Wars years ago because it's
some could say it was
garbage nowadays. A little bit, no. But so Steven is our new Star Wars guy. I have full faith that he's going to be able to keep bringing you the news. I don't know if it'll be at the same rate as John, because John is just a magician behind the keyboard, but he's going to be here. He'll be covering everything coming out of a galaxy far, far away. Now, as for our 2 yet to make their debut authors, we have one Matt Battaglia. I'm so bad at names, guys. I apologize, but Matt Battaglia. He is a comic book artist and documentarian whose work you might have seen around. I don't have any of it pulled up right now because we're scrambling here. But
it's been a very busy day, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. It's been a very busy day.
Everybody around the horn here has been flying around all day. So we're a little stuttery, but we're here for you. But Matt he's got a great writing portfolio. He has great comic book insights. He's going to be writing more. If Selver is a movie focused sort of industry insider, Matt is a comic book insider. So he'll be giving, he'll be going over industry news, also doing some interesting columns, just talking about techniques and other works, all that sort of stuff, sort of getting us back to our comic book roots. And then finally, we will also eventually be joined by one Brett R. Smith, who I'm sure many of you know. He's a very prominent name in not just our sphere, but in general comics. He had a small stint at Marvel when Wolverine died. He is Oh, so Brett Smith is a colorist. Obviously, I should have led with that.
Oh, okay.
He had a
All
small stint at, he's had a small stint at Marvel working on the Wolverine books when Wolverine was dead. He had a small subsequent run over at DC. You guys might know him best as the colorist behind Iconic Comics, My Hero Macadamia, the My Hero Academia parody those guys put out back in 2016. He's great. He's obviously fantastic at his craft. He will be also providing, he's going to be doing sort of a what's the right word, like a culture column. He's going to be looking at comic book releases that come out every week. He's going to be talking about, what do they do right, what do they do wrong, and not just in the writing but in the composition, in the coloring, all that fun stuff. He's also going to hopefully talk to, get some interviews lined up with other people in the sphere. So we're super excited to have him, and not just him but everybody I just mentioned. Also, I can't believe I'm forgetting Mark Claire. Mark Claire, he is the host of the Mark Claire Show and Second Print Comics. You might know him around. He's definitely in the sphere. He will also be joining us as a general contributor. He hasn't made his debut yet. And we have one more person that I'm really excited to share, but we can't yet. We're still working out those details. So definitely stay tuned for basically the future of Bounding into Comics. We're definitely looking to overhaul our content offerings. We're obviously here to keep John's legacy going, and we really hope you guys stick with us for the foreseeable future. This show is still obviously the same bat time, same bat channel, same bat hosts. It is just now labeled 01 over the Black Stream, and I will let Cider explain that naming over me because he actually named it.
01 it just sounds kind of cool, and it also in numerology stands for leadership as well as the beginning. I figured since Mr. Trent had left, we will just take what he had created and let it leave with his legacy as well. And this way we start new with all new things, just like 01 suggests.
Yep. So that's what we have now. 01 still here, same content. Don't worry. We're not just, blackpilling you now. We're going to take everything that's awful and we're blowing it out. We're blowing it away. We're space lasering it. Nothing is going to survive us when we get through here tonight. So, obviously, thank you to everybody in the chat who is congratulating me. I know I see my girl CS is in there. Truth is in there. DZ is in there. This is, thank you guys so much for all your support. I hope you guys stick with us. And before we get started, the last thing I need to address is, yes, we are absolutely aware that the header banner on the website follows you when you scroll. It has been a problem for like 2 weeks now, ever since we updated the website. We are definitely trying to fix it, but if you guys have any familiarity with codes and updating and web content, it's not easy. It's about finding the ghost in the machine. So that's where we're at right now. It will be fixed, but we're still here and we're happy to have you. With that, I think we should let's get into tonight's topic. Cider, do you have anything pulled up, or do you want me to pull them up?
No, I have Bounding into Comics pulled up at the moment. Where are we headed to?
Let's see. Where should we sign off? Because or start off. Obviously, it's been 2 weeks since we all got to see you guys. We all took a break off for Thanksgiving. Let's start. Gosh. Let's start with the Marvel roundup. Cider, can you pull up the article regarding the Silver Surfer being gender swapped?
Okay. Yep. Hold on just a second here. Yep.
And guys, you don't even know this, but from like the back end, the site flies way faster now. Like our images load faster. I know Josh knows this, but when we hit publish, it used to take 20 seconds for it all to go through. Now it's just like that. It's fantastic. Everybody,
it's
upgrade
freaky
your
as
stuff
well.
Immediately.
Right.
So, in case all you fine folks out there didn't catch this before the holiday break, the Fantastic Four is just, I think we could, instead of just Silver Surfer, let's just talk about all the Fantastic Four plans. So, obviously, before the break, there was a rumor. This rumor came out that Marvel is probably going to be looking to reboot when Silver Surfer makes her debut whatever it is now in the MCU. Yeah, they
debut. Is that what we're going to call it? A debut?
What is this, Doctor Who?
Right.
So when their eventual debut happens, instead of being Norrin Rad, the lonely, heartbroken sailor of the stars, we're getting female Norrin Rad. That's really as far as we've gotten so far. What was that, Cider?
Question mark?
Or Jacob? Somebody said something. Yeah, yay. That's pretty much it. I mean, it. So, let me finish laying this out before we all tear into it, because obviously we know that in the comics, Galactus has had one or two female heralds, like actual female heralds. There's obviously
Nova.
Ray, and Nova. Not only is Marvel angling away from actually using their established female characters in roles that literally work for them, but according to a rumor that came out of Geekosity's Mikey Sutton from like years ago, not even years ago, 2019, when this was all starting development, they're actually going to use Frankie and Norrin Radd. Apparently the plan is to have Norrin show up in the beginning, and then something happens, and guess what? Frankie Ray gets his powers and is now the Silver Surfer. I don't understand it. It's really, really stupid, but
Sounds
I don't
like they
know
don't
if
understand it either.
I mean, we know they don't. This is Disney. This is Marvel. When was the last time they understood anything? I mean, did anybody read Jacob's Marvels review, like the Marvels review? Everybody who commented on it is like, "Yep, trash. Yep, he hit it. Nope. Yep. Can't argue. It's bad. It's bad."
Everyone was literally saying about like 30 minutes in, it's like, what movie is this even a movie? Like, what am I watching here?
I was talking to Tina Bojan, Bad Take Tina. She was like, "Oh, this should have been a Disney Plus special instead of a movie." And I was like, okay, like, yeah, that would have worked better, but it still shouldn't exist. Like, we still don't need it. Like,
especially when you consider the fact that they put almost $300 million into that absolute nothing of a project.
They put $300 million into that, and I have to wonder how much of that was like desperate reshoots, right? Because we know that it started out as Captain Marvel 2, and then it got switched around, and then more work was being done to it. Like, I feel like the Marvels is just like She-Hulk, where everybody was like on, all the producers, all the writers, they were online, and they were like, what are they saying about our show or our movie? Oh crap, we gotta, let's fix it, let's change it according to what they're saying. And it's just like all the weird cuts in that movie, all the weird story beats in that movie, the entire
it feels like a movie where like the actual storyline changed like a couple of times before, like from pre-production to like post-production.
Dude, yeah.
And keep in mind, we reported on this a while ago about how they literally had to reshoot a lot of the film to, I guess, kind of condense the storyline and make it, I guess, more understandable. And if that's their final cut, like if that was essentially what they gave us, was them their best attempt at making the film understandable, you can only imagine what like the previous cut of this movie was. Like, it was an absolute disaster.
It had, or go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, has any of you seen the especially about the Marvels, right? So in terms of fighting choreography, how is it the movie? Like, I saw like one video. It's very poor quality, the video, but it's very insightful as well. And it's like, well, it feels like there's absolutely no stakes in there. So whoever like was paid for like to choreograph the fight in the movie is like, well, got the paycheck, but I did like nothing to make it look realistic or like anything in that sense.
It doesn't look realistic. There is no fight. I wouldn't even say there is real fight choreography. Like, the only fight I can really think of is the like 1 or 2 against the villain, and those are the ones you guys see in the trailer where they're like all teaming up and like triple attacking her and stuff. They're boring. It's just like, use your power here. I don't know. They're not talking. They're not communicating.
Insert
it's
fight
not like
scene here.
Use black girl magic.
Dude, they used the black girl magic, okay? That's how they saved the multiverse at the end. But it's the same, like, with Marvel movies, this reminds me a lot of what Jacob says about horror movies nowadays, like woke ones, where, oh, you're going to make the white guy, like there's one white guy in the cast, he's the bad guy. Wow, I saw this coming from a million miles away. I know what this movie is doing. With the Marvels, we know that Marvel's whole MO nowadays is we build to the next big crossover event. Despite whatever Feige says about we don't want to commoditize, that's what they do. And so if you go into the Marvels and you immediately are hit with like villain motivation, Kree accuser wannabe wants to get revenge on Captain Marvel for destroying the Supreme Intelligence. And it's like, we know and maybe this is different for casual audiences, and it's between casual and insiders like us, or even people in the chat who read the articles, right? It's oh my gosh, what was I going to say? There's my first moment of the show. Yeah, Spencer moment of the show, of the new era. It's absolutely fantastic. But gosh, what was I saying? What point was I building to? I don't even remember.
Here's one thing I'll just say real quick is that I can go ahead and spoil this because I mean it's been 2 weeks. If you haven't seen the movie by now, you're not going to. The whole thing with like the villain of this movie, who's played by Tom Hiddleston's wife in the film.
Yeah.
So you spend the whole time trying to make her an emotionally sympathetic character because, of course, she's a woman of color too. We can't have people like really hate her. And then, of course, when you get to that big battle, like towards the end, she just kind of like dies almost, I want to say, on accident. And then she just like disappears for the film. It's like they don't even actually like beat the villain. It's like she gets exactly what she wants, and then she somehow Wonder Woman's herself into oblivion, and then you just don't see her ever again. And it's just like that's the payoff. That's the payoff of this 2-hour movie.
That's one of those moments, Jacob, where I definitely feel like they were mashing things up, and it got that wasn't the original ending. I have to believe that, because I feel like that entire ending is just for that post-credit scene. Like everything about this movie is just for that post-credit scene, and that clearly wasn't made early on. That was clearly a last-second decision.
Oh yeah, by a lot.
But yeah, you reminded me. So like you go into this movie and you have this one-off. You can already tell it's a one-off villain. It's a as insiders and people who pay attention to this stuff, we know that Marvel's not said anything about Kree-Skrull war or characters for the future, right? And we've only got like 3 more movies before Avengers. Like we don't have a lot of time unless they're going to introduce people in Echo, so you go into this movie and you're like, this doesn't matter to the bigger MCU. Why do I sort of care? So it's not good as an MCU entry. It's not good as a standalone movie. If it weren't for Iman Vellani, I don't think anybody would be nice to this movie.
No,
it's just really, really, really bad. But go ahead, Josh. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, because you mentioned the thing about the villain being just like, it's a one-off. But even if you go back to Iron Man 2, and you go to Captain America as well, every single one of those villains is also one-off, but it feels more like it mattered really, because the characters, the villains in themselves are just like interesting characters as well. And when you present this like Mary Sue or whatever of a character, no motivation. So I haven't seen the movie, but from what we hear, it's
you're on point.
I don't know. Like, why should
you edited Jacob's review? You know what the movie is about. That is the movie. You're not missing anything. Like, go read Jacob's review. Give him your money instead of Marvel for this movie.
Yeah.
That stuff happens. There's a Beastie Boys jump rope scene somewhere in the movie, and then somehow you just get to the ending and you don't know what happened or why it even exists. So
it's obviously been, what'd you say, like 2 weeks since that movie came out. But if you guys get bored after the show or sometime later this week, I highly encourage you to go watch Jacob's movie night for the Marvels, because when it came to that jump rope scene, there's a good 2 minutes where Jacob's just like, I don't know, like, why? What? Like his brain breaks and he's just like, I don't know. It's a hilarious moment. But I mean, we're not even addressing the fact, like, before we move on from the Marvels, I think we just need to take one sidestep to note that, like, remember how we saw all those really blurry, really dark shots of Beast from the post-credit scene, and we were like, oh, it's Kelsey Grammer. Those should have been the official release, because he looks awful. Their Beast is entirely CGI. And it's like, you had Kelsey Grammer in makeup, in pure practical costume for Last Stand, and now you do this?
Yeah.
And
go
ahead.
This is why the movie cost $300 million, because Disney, or at least Marvel Studios, just goes, okay, we're not even going to bother to waste time to build practical sets and practical suits and do stuff like that. Like, we're just going to put everything's going to be on our VFX team, which is why everyone who works for them animation wise absolutely hates Disney, because they make them do everything. Like, we brought this up a few times on the show before, when you saw what was it, Secret Invasion, a Disney Plus show with Samuel L. Jackson, when he's in like his little like room in Russia. all of that is CGI. Like they literally couldn't even build a physical set for him to be him when he's literally just in his living room. They
Dude,
CGI'd the whole thing.
One of the most egregious in recent memory, because like we all know the Black Widow one. I don't have to go back to that one. But in Thor: Love and Thunder, both Natalie Portman and Chris Hemsworth's freaking helmets are CGI. Like that's an easy prop. Just make a helmet. But no, everything had to be completely CGI, and it shows, right? It absolutely shows. And just on the topic of Beast, I don't know if anybody saw this. It's been on my docket to write for a couple days now, but Kelsey Grammer doesn't know if he's coming back as Beast. He straight up was like, it was really nice to like get that shot, and I really hope I get to do it again. So again, like it's more proof that Marvel is just flying by the seat of their pants. They're just going, what can we do? Get a cameo, get a cameo, get a cameo. And didn't we just hear like 2 months ago from Iger and Feige that like this isn't what they should be doing? Like they seemingly realized it, and now they don't. Now they're just dumb about it.
At least the cameo seems to be a little bit more respectful than the very egregious Nicolas Cage cameo in The Flash. So I don't know, for what it's worth, I suppose.
I mean, I almost feel like it's a different. The Nick Cage one is just like Kelsey Grammer knew when he was going in. Like he went into the set, they're like, we're going to CG you, just do the voice, whatever, maybe some mocap, and he was like, fine. With Nick Cage, of what he's been saying is apparently he went in, he got in a suit, he filmed, and they just cut it all. They completely replaced his scene with CGI, AI, something. But he's like, that's not me. I don't know who that is. And I mean, I'm going to ask this to everybody who actually saw the movie, because I know a lot of us have. Did you even ever actually think that really was him? Like even from the second he showed up, I was like, that is very clearly a very bad PlayStation 2 model of Nicolas Cage flying around.
No, it's part of the reason why all of these films are flopping, because you can just see how the studios are going about it from a sense of just pure and utter laziness. They just think, oh, okay, well, this is a superhero name attached to this film, so people are going to go see it anyway. So it really doesn't matter the quality of the films like anymore. Yeah. It's like, oh, we'll just sell it on the name and we'll give it $250 million, and all these dumb bozos will go see it because they love Aquaman, right? And now they're realizing that, that plan is not working anymore.
Man, did you know this? They dropped a new teaser for Aquaman like yesterday.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Like I saw nothing about it until I was writing an article today and I needed a picture, and I typed Aquaman into YouTube and I was like, that just got uploaded. What the hell?
Oh, is that the new picture of Amber Heard as well? Is that where it's coming from? Because
that's actually from the very first trailer they did. That shot of her trying to like break in. It's funny.
For like
Josh,
a second.
If you go to that video and you do the like scroll on the timeline and you see like all the like most watched parts, there's a huge spike on that like one Amber Heard scene, because everybody obviously was like, is she actually in it?
Is she in it? Yeah.
Go ahead, Jacob. Sorry.
But no, I mean, that's just an absolute disaster, because what they have like $250 million, at least $300 million in the hole for that film too, and that's probably going to do worse than The Flash at this rate. Because I mean, I haven't seen like a single person like even remote interest in Aquaman 2 at this point in time.
Dude,
and then you also have to look at it from this perspective. Like the Marvels, which has been out for almost a month now, has only made $187 million worldwide, which means that it's going to lose several hundreds of millions of dollars. It's so bad that even the Hunger Games prequel has done about $20 million more than that one, and that came out like a full week after the Marvels did. So that just
the Marvels isn't even on like records, or like what do you call it, like the top tens anymore. That movie is gone, along with freaking Wish. Like Wish just completely died.
So here's the real quick thing about Wish. It's like, so Wish came out and people were talking about, another $100 million flop or $200 million flop for Disney. I'm thinking to myself, dude, I never even like heard of like Wish like at all. Like not even like talk bad about it. It's just like I didn't even know the movie came out until I started hearing the box office reports. Like, what the hell is this Wish movie? I didn't hear a single thing that's going to Disney's marketing. It's like literally no one even heard about the film.
Well, like nobody heard about that film. I remember Strange World, they didn't advertise at all. I mean, that movie's got other problems, but they didn't advertise that. They didn't advertise Elemental. They didn't advertise The Marvels. And it's like nobody knows that these movies are out, like you said. And bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off, because it's not.
Yep. I don't know where to go there. I mean, yeah, it's just it's and they're finding so many ways to cope with this reality now. It's like it can't just be we made a crappy movie. Now, part of this has to do with the fact that, like I said before, the reason why they keep BSing people about the real reason why these movies are flopping is that you're talking about publicly traded corporations here, like Disney. They can't publicly come out and say, yeah, we made a really crappy film and we lost $200 million, because if they say that publicly, their stock price is going to tank. So they'll find whatever reason that sounds good enough at the time as an excuse for why their movies are continuing to flop. It's like, the Marvels flopped because, it was shot during COVID and we didn't have
I was just going to say,
control on the set.
Cider, can you bring up the second most recent article I wrote? It's going to be right on the front page. Keep going, Jacob, but this is relevant.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's like they're trying to find ways to make excuses to essentially cord
the other one, the Iger one.
Their stakeholders or their stockholders, because they know it's like, well, the stockholders are going to have questions like, why are your movies not only losing $100 million per film now it's up to $200 million and $300 million a piece now. It's like, why are you guys bleeding so much money? And they have to find some kind of way to BS their way out of it. They can't just come out and say, well, look, we put a bunch of unqualified writers and directors in charge of these movies who didn't know what they're doing, and as a result, all of these films suck. So that's on us. They can't publicly come out and say that. So they have to come up with some kind of lie in order to protect their stock price.
I almost feel like, and maybe the chat can weigh in, but I almost feel like in this current ecosystem of Hollywood, it would do them so much better to just come out and be like, yeah, we're not doing well. Like, this is bad. We screwed up. We really, really need to do something. Instead of this, whoops, bumped my mic. Just earlier today, Bob Iger was attending it's called the Book Deal Summit. It's an annual speaking event that's held by the New York Times. They invite a bunch of people from various industries. Elon Musk was there, Kamala Harris was there, Kevin McCarthy was there, and yes, this is where the infamous FU from Elon came from, and I'll get to that in a second. But Iger was, he came out and he said, the Marvels was bad because, we filmed it during COVID and we couldn't, and there was not enough executive oversight on its creativity. And it's just like, one, COVID's not an excuse. And also, if you were filming this during COVID, what is that, like 4 years of post-production? That's terrible. You shouldn't be admitting that.
Not to mention, the film had technically been in the can for at least the last 18 months, because you were supposed to release it last summer. And then you stretch it out to fall of this year. So that means that all of those reshoots on top of that, this film was a mess from the very beginning.
And it's not even that. There's 4 more before those two. This movie got shifted 6 times. At that point, don't you just call it? Don't you just pull a David Zaslav and go, this is going to hurt the brand. It will hurt everybody involved. We need to can this. It's insane to me that they didn't. But
it's like baseball. At what point do you pull your pitcher out of the game? It's like, how many home runs does he have to give up before you just make the call?
Quick detour, because I'm on stream with you. Weren't you so excited that was a Monday night primetime game between the Bears and the Vikings? Wasn't that fantastic? Wasn't that just all worth your time?
It's funny. I literally made the post on social media. I don't know what was worse, CM Punk's return promo on Raw or the Monday night game. I think at one point Minnesota had 4 interceptions and they almost won. I was like, how does that even happen?
Welcome to the Bears, baby. On Monday, I was working. I was like, do. Hey, Cider. Hey, Jacob. Hey. Oh no, we play tonight.
No.
Crap. Yeah, my day is ruined. I was having a fine day. Dude, now I remember that.
The primetime games this year have been awful. They're bad.
That was the Bears' third one. That was the Bears' third primetime game. I don't know why we keep putting us up there.
And then like last week, it was like the Jets and the Bills or something like that. That game was awful. It's like, dude, like stop putting these like terrible teams in like prime time spot. Why does the Jets and the Broncos have so many prime time games? It's like, can we really get anybody else but those teams?
They probably set up the Russell Wilson schedules when he was, actually good and not the worst thing to happen to the NFL. But I guess if we want to bring that back, that just goes to show that nobody at the top of any of these companies knows what they're doing. No. They're all, they're like chasing. It's like what we always talk about. They're always chasing prospective audiences, but those don't exist. Like I was talking to another friend earlier this week, and we were talking about Marvel and Disney and all their disasters and stuff, and he was like, the dumbest thing that Disney ever does in their marketing is try to appeal to quote unquote, that untapped audience is. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like we know that. And he's like, no, but think about it. Spencer, does anybody on this planet not know what Star Wars is? Good point. No, everybody knows what Star Wars is. And
even dogs know.
Even dogs know. They make like Chewy toys for them. So I would
the little baby Yoda costumes for the dogs, right? You remember Paris Hilton's first puppy? They made the little baby Yoda costumes for him, so you could
I just think
double
about
humiliate the canine. Yeah.
Oh man, with like the bigger ears, and they don't want to wear that. They're like, get it off my head.
I don't want to exist. I'm the size of a cat. This is humiliating.
By the way, just quick little off topic note here.
Yeah.
Next Monday night's game is Cincinnati and Jacksonville without Joe Burrow. So
welcome to Bounding into Sports, everyone.
It's just keep on coming.
But yeah, so it's like, everybody and their dogs knows what Star Wars is. Maybe not to the same cultural extent, but at this point, everybody knows what Marvel is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has an opinion on it already. You're not going to magically change a large swath of the population onto your show when they already know what it is. If somebody says, Star Wars isn't for me, they know what it is, but it's not for them. You're not going to capture them. There's nothing you can magically do to switch it on them, and it's obviously a bad strategy, but that just clicked something in me. I'm like, oh yeah, everybody knows. Nobody is a stranger to this. If they want in, they're already in. And
hold on. The real wives of Coruscant probably could have worked out. All right, they just didn't. Okay. Just didn't give it the right amount of. Jacob shuts his webcam off. All right. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize.
No. First of all, I wouldn't be surprised if that. I almost wish that was a real show because I can believe Disney producing that. But also, I know Jacob would be there, front row, sit like popcorn in hand, beer in his paper bag, going, hit me with it. Hit me with this awful garbage.
I will go to the corner store and buy a Colt 45 right now.
and a Lucy, dog. You got to get a Colt 45 and a Lucy. But it's bad. It's really, really bad. And something I pointed out with this particular Bob Iger story about what's going, why everything is going wrong. He says, executive oversight, but I want to mention it. I want to remind everybody that, so there's a brain trust right now that's over at Marvel. It is sort of they call it a brain trust. It is a team of various executives and producers that sort of have complete creative oversight over everything at Marvel. It's some members rotate out on like a show to show basis, normally like the showrunners, but generally it always consists of Kevin Feige, Sana Almanat, Louis Despacito, the Secret Invasion producer, Chris Gary, for some reason. And those four are the people who sort of have directed everything in recent years. I mean, we know this has been a problem since 2015, when Edgar Wright was attached to Ant-Man and he left and he was like, there's no creative freedom over there. I can do anything. I don't want it. That's not me as a filmmaker. So that brain trust we just saw them with look at the whole Daredevil Born Again thing, right? Their first pass on that show made by that brain trust was so bad that Marvel had to take it all the way back to the drawing board. No, episode cutting like Echo or whatever. It was straight up, this is bad. Get it out of here. To the point where instead of, letting that brain trust work on the second pass, I guess you could call it, instead of letting them do it, they went and they actually hired a showrunner and directors, like dedicated directors. So I don't know who's buying this from Iger. And also, I don't think it's the win he thinks it is at all.
No.
Like especially to the stockholders, right? Because that's what you were saying, Jacob, is that obviously you're accountable to your stockholders. You got to make them sound better. Does coming out to your shareholders and going, oh yeah, we run everything here by committee. We make movies by committee, and our committee completely failed on this project and Daredevil. Like, this isn't confidence boosting. It's not great. So, but you know what? It's okay for Disney because, and Insider, you can feel free to look for this in time, but they already have they're setting up the Fantastic Four, right? And they've already found their Reed Richards. Now this story dropped literally like the day before Thanksgiving, so all of us were out. Nobody here at Bounding really got to cover it, but according to the latest whispers on the street, the front runner for the role of Mr. Fantastic in Fantastic Four is Pedro Pascal. And
does Hollywood know there's other actors in the business outside of Pedro Pascal?
No, they don't. They literally don't know that there are other actors there. It's this weird. I mean, they don't know there are other actors. They don't know there are other writers. Today or a couple days ago, it was announced that the Shang-Chi writer who was attached to Kang Dynasty because of Shang-Chi, he left, and now the person writing Kang Dynasty is the Loki creator. And it's like, you just keep pulling in internally. I don't really, you got to go get something fresh, but then nobody wants to join because they know that kind of going into Marvel is a career death sentence. You go to Marvel, you get your big movie out, you spend the next 4 to 5 years being Tom Holland or Daisy Ridley, and then you come back for the paycheck because you need it, right? Like,
yeah, let's not talk about the movies that Tom Holland was forced to be in outside of the MCU. There's a reason he's waiting to come back.
What is that movie? Like, that was like the last thing he was into. What was that called? Where he got booty blasted.
Booty Goon. I can't remember the exact name of the film, but that was the one where
it's like an HBO. Was it HBO or was it like a real movie?
It's called The Crowded Room. That's the name
of it.
Yeah, it was crowded, all right.
And it's funny too, because the week before that came out, we were giving him crap. He was doing the interview, so like, yeah, I think I might want to take another break from Hollywood for a year. It's like, oh, you whiny little bitch. It's like, you come over here, I gotta take a year-long break after every single film. Then we saw the role that he did. It's like, oh yeah, you probably need to take a year off.
Like, we get it. Like you have our blessing. Take a year off. Like, take all the time you need off. Yeah. But yes, not only is Marvel trying to save the Fantastic Four, their franchise, with Pedro, but thanks to Kevin Feige, the decision was made because Pedro was, quote, or because the cast was shaping up to be, quote, too white. That's like, this is the main thinking at Marvel now. It's always identity politics, always trying to get that other demographic that for some reason hasn't made a decision on Marvel yet. Like, it's so weird to me. Like, the person that Marvel and Disney imagine they think there's a black kid out, like a black person out there, not even a kid, like a black person who has never heard of or who has heard of Marvel and is just waiting for a character to be black. Like, they're just sitting there, and that's what's going to change their purchasing decision. And it's like, that only happens with like maybe 15,000 weird Twitter users. I don't know why you keep thinking this is a viable strategy by any means.
They're flailing. I mean, it's so obvious that they're flailing. And look, Pedro Pascal, I mean, I don't have enough energy to hate this guy, but like I said, does Hollywood know that there's other actors around right now? It always seems like we have to call him something. Like, he's not that great of an actor. Like, he really isn't.
He's really not.
But he seems to be Hollywood's go-to guy at this point.
The two roles he's best known for, which are Mandalorian and Last of Us, his role is like semi-silent protagonist. He doesn't talk a lot. He's not like I think you saw it, Jacob. Did anybody else here see the what is it, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, like the Nick Cage movie? Yeah, he's awful in it. Nick Cage rules, but Pedro Pascal can't act that like over the top role. It's really it's weird. Like it's just, it's not like offensive. It's just very off-putting. You're just like, this is not a good performance.
it basically, especially because it's from Disney too, it's basically them just going, hey, well, he's big on the Star Wars thing, let's bring him into the Marvel thing and you know, throw him in there like as well, right? And it's like, I mean, look, we all know that he checks all the check boxes for Hollywood, especially with all the things that he pushes in his, you know, personal life and whatnot. It's like, well, whatever. I mean, at that point, but I mean, the things that I've seen him in, Wonder Woman 2, that was terrible. Unbearable Massive Weight, I was like, maybe. The Bubble sucked. And then, like I said, the last stuff that he's been in, it's been what, The Last of Us and Star Wars, and I didn't really care much for either one of those either. So it's like, if you're, here's the thing. This is probably what irks people the most, is that you literally just had John Krasinski in Doctor Strange 2 like a couple of years ago,
but he's
and everyone
dead.
loved it. Only that universe
doesn't work,
him, right? Remember?
Yeah, but he's dead.
Only in that multiverse. As a matter of fact, the woman, what's her face? Lashana
Lynch.
Yep, she got killed in that movie, and then they brought her back at the end of Marvel. So
he's dead. Jacob. You gotta have Pedro Pascal because that other guy, he's dead. He got turned into ribbon. Little did you know that wasn't CGI. He literally got turned into ribbon.
Marvel saw that A Quiet Place 1 and 2 blew them out of the water box office wise, and they were like, "We're done with you, John. No more competition."
No Hollywood executive was like, "Hey, you know what? Let's try to see if we can get John Krasinski and Emily Blunt to play Sue Storm and Reed Richards."
Oh, Emily Blunt would have been great.
Mm-hmm. But
instead, it's going to be what's her name? She was in Hobbs and Shaw. She was the sister.
Oh, Vanessa Kirby.
Vanessa Kirby, that's who apparently is the front runner, and it's like, is she even naturally blonde? Like, I have no idea. It always looks like a bad dye job in the.
I just saw her last week in that Napoleon movie, and that Napoleon movie is definitely a massive disappointment. And it's like it makes you think that it's on the same lines of, like, you know, a Dunkirk or like a 1917, but then when you get into, like, after the first like 10-15 minutes, which is pretty strong, it just basically becomes like a tale about him getting cucked out by his wife for about an hour, and then you just think to yourself, wait, is this like the whole movie? Like, you're not gonna go back to the battlefield at any point in time during this whole thing?
Dude, that's like, here's what's crazy about that is that you know, obviously as part of my just information gathering and stuff, I follow a couple influencers online who are shills, I would say. You know, they have access, they love praising everything. One of the guys who's like a huge shill went and saw Napoleon, and he ended up doing like a 50-minute video where he's like, what did I watch? Like, this is really like, and it wasn't even like the production quality is bad or whatever. Like, he specifically took issue with, like, what is this story? Why did you do that to Napoleon? That's so, like, I don't know. I just thought that was really fascinating. And also, Ridley Scott is one of those directors who's like very hit or miss. And I feel like it's every other movie with him. A lot of miss. Did he do the recently. Yeah, did he do the Noah movie? Was that him?
I'll have to check, but I'm not 100% certain. But yeah,
the Noah
that was
movie
that was Darren Aronofsky.
Really? That surprises me, because that movie's almost like a Bible superhero story. Because, like, at the very end, like, Noah starts fighting like rock monsters and stuff with like the power of God, and
with them. He's like the help of the rock monsters.
That's right. I forgot they were on his side.
Yep.
Because Rob brought this up a couple of weeks ago. He did a movie called The Last Duel, and this is a film that me and Rob split on because he actually liked that film and I absolutely hated that movie. And it's really the exact same thing with this film, Napoleon. So with the Last Duel, it's essentially about, you know, I guess two kings fighting over like a girl, but it's kind of like a slight Me Too bent to it, whereas like the whole film is about from her perspective, and like all of the guys are just like complete douchebags. And the problem is that she's not really be the protagonist, but as a result of that, it's just like everyone's a bad guy. So there's really no one to root for like 2.5 hours for this film, which is why I hate it, because the story made no sense.
And that's why Rob loves it, because those are the exact kind of movies that he loves to death.
Exactly.
are the really in-depth, like, I don't even want to call them subversive. They're just like, they just kick you in the balls with how they don't do things. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a really bad description. But back to the topic of Marvel. So obviously Pedro is a really bad casting choice. It's like super dumb. But I wanted to bring up, I want, the biggest applause of all time, because if you guys have either followed Cider on either his streams, the Dank stream, or his Twitter lately, or you've caught him on, the last couple Bounding or the last Black Pill streams, there's been a rumor with the whole Kang dynasty thing, with Kang being in the air and Jonathan Majors doing whatever. By the way, he started his trial, I think, yesterday. So be ready for updates on that. We're going to get him eventually. But with that all in flux, Cider has been floating for a long time the idea that instead of Kang being the big protagonist, Marvel will pivot to Doctor Doom, but they're going to sort of divorce him from anything related to the Fantastic Four. And if you guys remember, I was when we brought this up on the last Black Pill stream, I was kind of like, I don't know about that. Like, everybody knows that they're related. Like, is Marvel that dumb? I have to publicly take that L, because according to a new rumor, it is from the Swift account. I don't know if you know that account, Cider. I hadn't heard of this account until earlier this morning when I was talking to Pro. Let me see if I can find it. There we are. Swifty _ here. I'll shoot it over to you in the private chat, Cider.
Sure.
Oh no. Apparently my internet, apparently I'm stuttering. That's me. That's not you guys. So don't worry about that. Obviously I'm just having internet issues.
Well, the camera can't keep up with your energy, mate.
I need that 5K, 6K, 90 frame resolution. Okay. We're going cyberpunk levels, but, so apparently this is Swift here is a noted leaker. Again, I genuinely didn't know this person existed until this morning, and WDW Pro and Jonas all vouched for him. Or them, whatever. But this person, Swift, dropped a bunch of rumors over the weekend regarding Marvel. Now, some of them are, like right here, Young Avengers is going to be a Disney Plus show. Marvel is not happy with the quality of Ironheart and are reworking it. The special presentations, like what was that? The Guardians holiday special and the Werewolf by Night are still happening, but apparently that's all completely in flux. They don't know what they're doing with it. Vision Quest is probably canceled. Did you guys even remember that was being developed? She-Hulk season 2 apparently not happening after that very, very, very terrible reception to season 1. I mean, the critics thought it was awful. Here on the panel, it was our show of the year. But also,
yes, of course.
And then I think if you go down one more, Cider, it might be the very next tweet he makes. But sure. according to Swift, that's not a tweet. Oh, Nova's still in. Okay, he probably dropped it earlier, or we scrolled past it. But basically, Swift does send out the rumor that Doctor Doom is going to be the antagonist of all the Secret War stuff, all of that. Like, that is confirmed. Kang Dynasty, they're moving away. It's going to be Doom. And
I'm gonna just check something. Hold on.
Yeah, of course. But with that rumor, like, I can believe that rumor because, like Jacob said at the top of the show, they're desperate. They're flailing. They're trying to do anything they can to get butts in seats. So they're going to try to pivot to Doctor Doom. I just think Marvel is such an interconnected brand, right? Like, it is, like we talked about how it gets commodified. Everything is linked together. People, you grabbed it. Awesome. You found it. Yes. He updated it since then. But anyway, yes, they're contemplating getting rid of Kang. Obviously, we all kind of knew that. They're looking to use Doctor Doom as his replacement. Like I said, I just feel personally that everything is so interconnected that even casual audiences are going to be like, where's the Fantastic Four? Aren't you supposed to be against them? But I guess Cider called it. Marvel really is going to try and make Doctor Doom just like a character. They're going to try and remove them all from the Fantastic Four stuff, which means we'll probably get that leak where Reed Richards is a jerk to Sue. That's probably going to be the actual plot, because if you don't have Doom as your villain, what are you really going to do in your first Fantastic Four movie? You're not going to get Annihilus. You're not going to get Mole Man.
Go
ahead.
Actually, I had a few things. One, Mitch Ryan says, "Are you going to ruin Doom? Look at the last 5 years. Like, who have they not ruined at this point?"
Right, just like I say in the comments, I would be disappointed if they don't at this point.
Exactly.
I'm gonna throw this to you. I think that the Fantastic Four are going to be the like political ambassadors in their world. So they're not going to be like fighting Mole Man, Annihilus, these guys off the bat. Fantastic Four are going to be dealing with Russia. I have a very strong feeling that Reed Richards' scientific connections to Russia are going to lead into some type of the US using them as a way to deter Russia's activity in Eastern Europe.
They're probably going to make Dr. Doom Ukrainian and put that at, like, forget Latveria. It'll be like, or maybe he's like born in Latveria, but I was raised in Ukraine. Like, I respect and love the people. Like, I can see something like that.
It's
happening.
very simple. You just have his mother come from Ukraine. They love making his mother things. Remember? They just throw his mother into a hat and shake her up with a bunch of other stuff and pull out something new, you know?
Honestly,
what's Dr. Doom's mom this week, you know?
Is she a demon? Is she a human? Is she magic?
Is she a witch? Is she a drug addict? Who knows?
Oh, we'll get to witches. Just real quick. We'll burn those.
Here's another thing, like, their creative process has been so bad, Disney and Marvel. Like I said, they won't admit to the real reason is that they put a bunch of unqualified writers and directors in charge of all of these projects that every single one of them have issues, right? So all of a sudden, Echo, we have to cut that one up to pieces because that was a mess. Ironheart now has to be redone, even though we shot the whole thing, because that's a mess. Daredevil, we're just gonna have to blow that whole thing up and start from scratch because that's a mess. Blade, another same thing. We have to blow that whole thing up. That's a mess. What's the other one that just did? We talked about the Marvels being delayed for like 2 years or so. We had the two writer and director walk off of Doctor Strange 2 just a couple of years ago. So it's like none of these films have any hope to them, like, whatsoever. Every single one of them is just a complete disaster. It's one thing if it's just one movie that's a disaster, like one writer or one director just couldn't see eye to eye with the studio or something like this. Every single project they have down the line now is disaster. I even mentioned the Captain America movie, because now they have to reshoot most of that movie too.
Oh my gosh, that's a really good point. We didn't mention that. Yeah. Oh my.
So literally everything's a disaster with Marvel. Everything.
And like, that's what I mean is they don't have their game plan. They're banking everything on Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. That's all. I feel like that's going to be their Hail Mary pass. They're like, this is going to be our last one, especially with all those rumors coming out of everybody's back. Robert Downey Jr. is back. Tobey Maguire's back. Andrew Garfield, like, everybody's coming in. It feels less like a celebration of cool things of like the fans and the property, and more like, see, Spider-Man's here. Can we have $10, please? Like, I just, we need to pay our shareholders, man. We got to get those dividends back, man. Can you just come see my movie? And it's just like, I don't know if I really want to buy a movie ticket from the guy who's clearly just methed out and gluing pictures of superheroes onto like a big paper. Like, that's genuinely what it feels like. But so speaking of witches, the Dr. Doom comment from Cider reminded me of this. Cider, I shot you a link over in the private chat. This one's sort of more simple. That feed just has a bunch of different stuff. You can land on whatever you want to land on. But in case you guys didn't notice over the weekend, we've finally started getting our first looks at Agatha, whatever they want to call it these days. That is my official subtitle for it, because the name has changed like 5 times. It's pretty insane. But yeah, this is a new rumor I just saw right now. Apparently Wanda's coming back in Agatha Darkhold Diaries. But like, I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like, so this is the Scarlet Witch Up D account. I definitely recommend going there, perusing what they've uploaded. So the WandaVision Blu-ray came out, I believe, last week, and it includes a bunch of preview stuff for the Agatha series. And it just, I don't understand who really was at like. Okay, obviously we know that nobody was asking for this. That this is Marvel sort of running a joke into the like. This is the equivalent of the
It's
dude.
literally a meme
Go ahead.
about the song from the TV show.
Yeah.
And there was like, yeah, let's make a TV show out of it because women love this so much.
Guys, this would be the equivalent of like if somebody came to the four of us right now and was like, guys, you know what would super improve the intro to the Black Post or to 01? Harambe. You should put a Harambe joke in there. And it's like, what year is it? Why are you referencing a joke that nobody is laughing at anymore? That kind of was a blip. Like, this is not funny. And yeah, because it's a TV show, they can't just fart it out the week after Agatha. I mean, they could have done like a 2-episode series, right? That's how you, or like a mini, or their special presentations. Do something like that. Fart it out really fast. Capitalize on it. But now you made an entire show about Agatha? Like, even in the comics, she's not really that prominent of a character. She's a side character to the Scarlet Witch, to that side of the Marvel universe, right? Like, it's bizarre, and like,
so
obviously
the real question here is that how many of these women are going to be gay? Because you know at least 2 of them are going to be.
Well, we've already gotten. There's confirmation from the Blu-ray or whatever that obviously Agatha is gay. I believe one of those other women is gay. They're her girlfriend or whatever. And then the race swapped version of Jennifer Cale, I believe, will also be gay. So gay women everywhere. And also, I believe that so there's a guy in the show played by Joe Locke. I'm pretty sure that is going to be Wanda's son, Billy, who in the comics is gay. So there's your other gay character. Like, this is the wine mommiest show of all time. Like, it's all about like Jacob's favorite thing, like witchcraft, like respecting the witches and all of this stuff. It's about essentially a domestic dispute between Agatha and her girlfriend, which, you know, really leaning into those stats, right?
Childless middle-aged women drinking juice boxes is like the peak of first world. Go screw yourself. Go jump in a volcano.
Right.
Like,
if it was realistic, it would be a glass of wine, but otherwise it'd be right there.
No, that's what it is. It's a juice box of wine. That's what they make now. Like, we're beyond even trying to pretend like we're civilized people. We've gone from you know, wine glasses to jugs to boxes to cartons. Like, that's welcome to the world. But yeah, no, Cider, I'm right there with you. Like, I don't want to hear from that demographic. I don't know what like, you don't really need to appeal to that demographic. They don't watch these shows. Like, that demographic is the kind of audience who like sits there and they're like, put it on.
RC Scott says menopause the series. It's like, yep, that's pretty much it. That's where we're at.
Dude, that's actually pretty accurate. Like, because it also has to do with like Agatha going back to her younger self, because that's when it was a relationship. So it's definitely like pre-menopause. Who knows? Like, and then there's also going to be that is the
I got it. Agatha, the change.
Gosh. And okay, well then who transitions at the end?
Agatha, the wall. There you go.
No, dude, it's Agatha, the quest for eggs, right? Like, that's what it is. The Infinity,
Frozen Empire, right? Yeah, that Frozen Empire thing. Yeah, crossover with the Ghostbusters. You wait.
No. You cross that over with the with Asgard, because remember they have the frost in the like in the room, so it's like, welcome to the Asgard fertility clinic or whatever, and you just
Thor's running a fertility clinic. He gave up being a gamer frat boy, and now he specializes in fertility. Yep.
Look, the
god of thunder and fertility.
His mom's just happy that he got out of the house and he's talking to other people. Okay,
she's dead.
No, if you go back in time and talk to a past version of her and take that version of Mjolnir, who I presume Thor at that time was using. That's always bugged me.
Have they cleared this up, or is Thor still like walking around thinking Loki's dead? Is Loki like showed up and been like, look at him? Oh, great. So like Loki's having all of these seasons worth of adventures, and his childhood brother, the man he was raised to believe was his brother, that he lived alongside of, did all sorts of crazy that I don't even have time to call that guy.
Right? Like,
You don't even
not
have
only
time.
do I not have, not only do I not have time to call this guy, but I'm also, I'm facing down a reality breaking threat. It's cool.
And
I'm
a
gonna hang out
The
with
hammer
Owen
would
Wilson.
really be
breaking
helpful.
threat that Ant-Man already beat like 3 movies ago, by the way.
with ants. With ants.
Yes.
with ants that they beat last season. Like, again, the Kang thing is just really bad, and it's just, why did you put all the money on Jonathan Majors?
On top of that, just a quick little sidebar. We can get into it a little bit later, but I'm glad that Taika Waititi pretty much confirmed exactly what I thought about
we
his
could
future
probably
with the
jump to
Thor
that.
movies. Because, like I said, I called this right away when I heard like the interview. It's like, what's his name? Chris Hemsworth does not like this dude like at all, and he is not coming back unless this dude has nothing to do with the Thor series. I don't.
There is a. Or go ahead, Cider.
I have an ant meme before we get too far away from the ant.
Drop it.
Okay?
Drop my memes. Ants. Ants. Oh, that's right. I got to do.
Humans be summoned by ants?
Here, let me start
The
it over
answer
again.
is they
I forgot I
should
wasn't
be.
sharing.
Well,
Hold on. Here we go.
if Cthulhu can be summoned by humans who are so far beneath it, why can't humans be summoned by ants? The answer is they should be. Well, if a bunch of ants formed a circle in my house, I'd certainly notice. Try to figure out where they'd all come from and possibly wreak destruction there. That's why knowing and correctly pronouncing the true name is so important to the ritual. Imagine how impossible it would be to not go take a look if the circle of ants started chanting your name. And they're like, "You can't leave because we drew a line made of tiny crystals. Now all you have to do us a favor." And you're like, "Well, let's just see where this goes." Yep, you got me. What's the favor? And usually the favor is like, "Kill this one ant for us," or "Give me a pile of sugar." And you're like, "Okay." And you do, because why not? It isn't hard for you, and boy, is this going to be a fucking story to tell, these fucking ants chanting your name and wanting a spoonful of sugar or whatever. And sometimes you get asked for things you can't really do. One of them, she's like, "I love this ant, but she won't pay any attention to me. Make me important to her." And you're like, how? So you just kill every ant in the colony except the 2 of them. Ta-da! Problem solved. And the first ant is like, horrified whisper, "What have I done?"
Dude, that's so, like, honestly, I'm behind that. Like, the whole part about the tiny like line of crystals that they thought was going to stop me and like playing into it. I can see me doing that. Just like, all right, okay, let's like, fine. It's like playing with a 3-year-old and they come and they give you like the fake phone. It's like, you got to answer it. You got to play into it. But yes, so where were we? Oh yes, let us talk about everybody's favorite creative throughout the entire MCU, Taika Waititi. Folks, we have a lot to talk about with this. Honestly, just this dork. I that's the nicest thing I can say on this family friendly stream. This dork. Earlier this week, Taika Waititi made an appearance on the wordlet, or what is that? What is it called? I have it pulled up. What is it? Oh, it's called Smartless. It is the Smartless podcast. It is hosted by Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, and Sean Hayes, who, if you don't know that last name, he was the like the flamboyant gay friend on Will and Grace. So pretty prominent actor, I guess. Yeah, but they have a podcast, and earlier this week they had Taika on, and they were talking to him just sort of about his career, what's coming next, and eventually Jason Bateman sort of asked him about his career. You know, you're sort of a wackier type of guy. You're more out there. What made you think that you should take a Marvel movie where you have, studio executives going, it needs to be this way. It has to do this. It has to include this connection, blah, 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 blah. And to that, Taika admitted, quote, "You know what? I had no interest in doing one of those films. It wasn't on my plan for my career as an auteur, but I was poor and I just had a second child. And I thought, you know what? This would be a great opportunity to feed these children." So they call and they ask, "Do you want this?" And Thor, let's face it was probably the least popular franchise. I never read Thor comics as a kid. That was a comic I'd pick up and be like, ugh. And then I did some research on it and I read one Thor comic, or 18 pages, however long they are. I was still baffled by this character. I thought that if there was anything I could bring, it was character. Just looking at Thor as a character. He's a billionaire who lives in space and looks ridiculous. And that was sort of the end of that. So I was like, let's highlight that. He's a rich kid. I pitched him that he hates germs. And then Bateman, pushes back and goes, whoa, that didn't scare the poop out of Marvel that you pitched all that. And Waititi basically said, he realized, quote, well, if they've called me in, this is really the bottom of the barrel for them. End quote. He also, right? Like, I don't even know where to start with this guy. He is literally, so like, what is it? Where do I even want to start? He sucks. Taika, obviously, like just bottom line sucks. So much, there's so much flying through my head because a lot of it is like I want to like ask God, like, why does this happen? But obviously it's because the world's dumb sometimes.
Begin with the dinosaurs.
So back when New Zealand was still part of Pangea, there roamed the stegosaur. No, I have no idea. Don't quote me. I'm not a paleontologist. I'm not Indiana Jones.
Has anything come from
close?
Has anything ever good come out of New Zealand? Not ever.
Hobbits.
Oh yeah, they filmed those movies down there. So technically,
the guy
they brought
who played
something in and took something out.
The guy who plays Jango Fett in
Power Rangers Ninja Storm. That was a
right,
really good one. Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I heard.
Tamora Morrison or whatever, and he's all fat now because he's Boba Fett.
You know what? One thing that I was going to mention is like really sad when I came to the realization. Look, scroll up a little bit with you have Thor's face pressed against the window, right? And I was going to say, tell you, great image selection, great shot, and it's sad to think that they told the same thing to Taika in the movie as he was recording it. It was like, oh, this is such a great shot, man. It should totally be in the movie.
This is so funny. This is so great.
It's
funny. Dude, I realized when I was going through Ragnarok for that, like these screenshots, I totally forgot that Taika, he reuses the same joke in both Thor movies. Because in the first Thor movie, there's the whole scene where Thor, Valkyrie, and Hulk are trying to like plan how to escape from Sakaar. And the whole time Valkyrie and Thor are talking, like Hulk's behind them in Hulk form, like butt naked. And that's the joke. And he's just like walking around, his butt showing the entire time. And ha 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 ha, goofy butt. That's the same joke they do when Thor goes to the like God planet in Ragnarok and he flicks off his clothes. And it's like, ha ha, naked guy. But it's just like,
yeah,
was that good of a joke?
Once you realize like David Cohen's scheme here, like he repeats it in like every single movie, you realize what just a massive hack he is. Because like you said, you see it in Ragnarok and you think, okay, that's one movie that was pretty entertaining, and then you watch him in Jojo Rabbit and it's like, oh, okay, so he even does that stuff here. Then you watch him in the other Thor movie, it's like, oh, so this is all he does. And then every movie you see after that, it's like, okay, now I hate this guy.
Like Jacob's not wrong. Like chat, if you could identify, like, give a name to sort of Taika's techniques, right? Like, there's the one he loves, which is having a character completely like a very capable character start acting all goofy and awkward around either a villain, like somebody stronger than them, or a love interest, right? You can take that like thing and say, hey, what's in this next Taika Waititi movie? Is there a scene where the protagonist, like the very capable, strong protagonist, gets all twisted up and weird around like somebody else? Check. Like everything in these movies, if you can identify it, if you can describe it, it's in every other movie of his. It's very obvious.
What came up first, the Ghostbusters movie or Ragnarok? Because I'm thinking it's the same performance.
Ragnarok did.
Literally doing the same performance.
Oh, that one. You gotta specify because we've had Afterlife since then. That's what I thought you were talking about.
Is it? No, is it?
It's called Answer the Call.
Girlbusters.
Answer the Call.
Girlbusters. Answer the Call. All right. Which I always love bringing this up anytime that movie comes up. When who is it? Paramount who owns those film rights? Sony, one of those two.
Sony.
They released Sony. They released a box, like a Ghostbusters Ultimate like box set earlier this year, and it had an Ecto 1, and it had the animated stuff. No, like everything except Answer the Call. It was incredible.
I think it was included later on though.
What was
I
that?
think they end up including like code, so you can redeem the
did
movie
they?
if you want.
Oh, nobody's gonna ever do it. Like, there's so many of
Yeah.
those in trash bins across the nation. Like, I feel bad for our homeless population. That's what they have to entertain themselves with.
I just wanted to point out with this, right? So Taika Waititi, or Taika, I say his name wrong. I don't know. I want to put him Tiny
cares?
IKEA. So it's Taika Waititi. Waititi, whatever, Tiny IKEA. Anyway, he
I actually like that.
he's a New Zealander along with Simon Bennett, who just recently left the Power Rangers franchise.
Our favorite.
Now, I didn't know this about Taika, whatever the hell his name is. I did not know this, that he come out and he's like, I don't like Thor. I look at this comic and I want to wipe my butt with it. I was like, just send me in a rage. And then, so Bennett comes out after now he's free of his whole you can't yap contract. And he says, I like this whole Japanese entertainment thing.
It's so goofy. Who would like this? Who would take
these rubber suits seriously? Who would enjoy this comic about a rich guy going through space? Because that's what Thor's story is, right? Rich guy going through space. That's what Thor's story is, right? Right?
Partly, kinda, not really.
No, it's space fantasy.
You've got the going through space part, which is where I'm like, okay, yeah, but then everything else, yeah, not Thor.
Well, that's just it. Is that Thor is not? It's Taika basically like describes him as like Oliver Queen going through space.
You know, that's
not who he is.
No,
while we're throwing complete other hacks under the bus, can we stop pretending like Tessa Thompson is a good actress too?
That's true.
While we're at
She's not.
Never been one.
I mean, I know why she gets all her roles now because it's very, very clear why she gets all her roles, especially the role in the MCU.
I believe I've seen these two on a yacht somewhere with some extra company.
Yeah, so I think we all know
extra company.
I think we all know why she's in so many movies now, but can we stop? Or can somebody in the back room stop? Can we move the couch somewhere else?
Interestingly enough, I believe her first
sunroom.
I think her first on-screen appearance with Chris Hemsworth was the Men in Black movie, where she quite literally forced herself into the movie and the plot.
I literally forgot about that movie. That plot.
Everyone tried.
Oh man, she really like. If you guys have not seen that movie, Cider that is accurate. She literally forces her way into the plot by just going like, "I know the MIB. I want to be in the MIB. I'm in the MIB now." Like that's it.
And they just really let it happen because they're like, "We can't stop a 98-pound college-age girl from telling us
that
the Men in
alien
Black
spaceship
what
we
to do."
downed before.
Yeah.
No, that's not a challenge, but progressivism. Now we can't do anything here.
Will Smith killed a 12-foot tall cockroach with a stapler gun. Okay, but we're not gonna let Tessa Thompson. We're not gonna stop Tessa Thompson. She's just too much of a tour de force.
But between that role and then Ghostbusters and then Ragnarok and Love and Thunder, I feel really bad for Hemsworth because he keeps being cast or directed as like not even like a dork, like a buffoon.
You're gonna bring up Extraction on your side there.
They didn't have a gun to his head. Oh, that's we got to remember in Hollywood, they don't have to take these jobs. They can go somewhere. He could have been making bounty quicker picker upper ads. You know, he could have been like doing slap chop ads instead of doing that Ghostbusters movie. There was no gun to his head telling him he had to do that.
Now I raised this one pushback, and I'm more asking a question. I'm not really pushing back, but like, do you think this might at least with those two, like with Ghostbusters and MIB, do you think that may have been more of a situation where it was like they're making an MIB movie, they want you in MIB, would you like to do MIB? Oh, we don't have a script yet, but they want you attached to the project. Because if it was that way, I can see Hemsworth being like, oh, MIB, another franchise, awesome. Ghostbusters, another
great. Am I going to work with Will Smith? Am I going to work with Tommy Lee Jones? It's like, no, you're going to work with Tessa Thompson.
Yeah, he gets like 6 months into production, and they go, "Here's your script," and then he goes, well, "Yeah, where's Tommy Lee? Where's Rip Torn? Like, where's anybody?"
Dead.
Oh wait,
but
yeah, I was gonna say Rip's dead.
He's dead.
That was my like, oh wait.
But yeah, no, that's just what it is. You know, and maybe that's how it works. But the other thing is that you also have to accept in order to be in Hollywood,
but you are right.
You have to be one of these psychos. You have to
Yes.
be one of these people that's completely divorced from reality. And we've heard Chris Hemsworth say insane things over the years. It's not like he's been immune to this stuff.
No, of course, he's still a celebrity.
Right. In order to be in any of the Disney franchise movies, they have to carry the LGBT pride thing. He can't go against any of that stuff. So of course when they pair him up.
Not even just LGBT stuff, just the progressive topic of the day. If you have anything but 100% support for it, you're out of there.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall when that Panderverse thing happened, where it was like, put a chick in it, make it gay, make it lame, make it lame. That thing, you know, that.
They'd be like, damn it, they found our playbook.
No, for Chris Hemsworth, right? Where like that happened to him. He was Thor. He was going to be the king of Asgard. He was on his way to be. He was on his way to be the Rune King Thor. That super duper ultra. I can't bother with Midgard anymore. Thor. You know, that's where he was headed. And then they're like, no. You're going to get depressed and go through all this breakup blues that you didn't have before. You're going to go through all this, and then a black lesbian is going to take everything from you.
Well, no, that's what I was gonna say. Is like because like the black lesbian stuff, she replaces him in Ragnarok. Like that's where she shows up and she's like, "I'm the best. You're a weirdo. Like I'm the Junker girl." Then it happens again with Natalie Portman in the next movie. Like two women. Like again, like it's the same thing for Chris. Like it sucks because the
symbolism, right, of Natalie Portman taking his hammer, right? But hold on, the symbolism behind that. The hammer being a phallic symbol. I'm not trying to talk about putting it up your butt or anything, but a hammer is a phallic symbol. And not once did it get like destroyed by a woman, have its agency taken by a woman, but twice it had its agency taken by a woman who did not have any regard for him, mind you. Taika Waititi hates penises. It's that simple. He just hates penises.
That's why it's always guy butts. No frontal, always guy.
See?
Kidding.
See? Now you know why Thor had to be naked in front of a bunch of men.
Which, by the way, he just if you guys want to see a blatant example of the hypocrisy of Hollywood, when Taika, it's the image is in that article somewhere. You don't need to scroll up for it. I'm just letting them know. But he went on, I think it's like Stephen Colbert, to promote that movie, and he straight up just had a picture of butt cheek Thor from that shot and was like bragging about like, oh, I'm so proud I was able to like make Chris Hemsworth get nude. Like, look at this nude shot. Like, look at what I got to do. Isn't this amazing? And it's like, we can't even have like video game characters with a slightly deep cut cleavage anymore, but we
can't have video game characters that have female faces, let alone cleavage.
We can't have video game characters that actually identify as female. It has to be body type 1 or body type 2 nowadays. Don't forget that.
Nailed it.
Mailed it. Duh. No. So, but yeah, like there's the Taika being like, it infuriates me that not only is Taika the kind of person who like he does the thing that we've all sort of tried to fight against when we were all younger, when all of this was super niche, you know, and being a huge film dork or video game person was not cool. We would get bullied and people would dismiss us and blah, 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 blah. And that's literally what Taika's doing. He's going, ugh, what is this nerd crap? Like, people like this. He's doing the Simon Bennett. And why, and when does that ever turn out right? Like, just like Cider said, reading him as a rich kid who doesn't really know what to do. And by the way, if you go and listen to like that exchange, that moment in the podcast, it definitely feels like they're trying to insinuate he's like Trump. They do a bunch of like, you know, he's and they're like, oh yeah, mumble agreeing is sort of like what they do. And so like that made me just go like, that's like, it's such an, it's the equivalent of the bar joke that I always, you know, complain about. Wouldn't it be funny if Superman had a normal office job because he lost his powers? Funny. You should move on. Don't like double down on it. That's what Taika's doing here, is going, oh, wouldn't it be funny if Thor did that? We're going to do that. We're going to do it hard. And that's like all of my plans nowadays. And it's just like, it's like that. And then the blatant disregard for even the actual project itself, not even the material, because this shot we were looking at the one of Tessa and Taika, that comes from a Vanity Fair. So Vanity Fair has a series where they invite like directors on and stuff, and they go, hey, can you explain to us how you did the scene? I know, like, for example, I've watched one from Ryan Coogler about Black Panther. I watched one the other day from Daniel Destin Cretton for Shang-Chi, which I X'd out immediately once I realized what movie he was talking about. But it's a very regular series they do, and they invited Taika on with Tessa to talk about Thor: Love and Thunder, and they do this scene. They talk about, what scene is it? They review the scene where, if you've seen the movie, like they're all in like the town hall and they're trying to formulate a plan, and Natalie Portman goes, I can do it, and she like rockets off, or she like lightnings off, and they all stand there for a second, and then she lightnings back and she's like, I don't know where to start, like I don't know what I'm doing, typical Taika humor. But
Right.
this Variety interview is full of Taika going like, oh yeah, I didn't really try there. And like Tessa Thompson's like, oh yeah, this is a nice shot, but you can tell the color grading on me is wrong because you took this from a different shot. And Taika goes like, oh, I didn't notice that. Genuinely, I've never noticed that. And it's an interview full of him going like, oh, wow, check that out. I did mess it up. I don't really care. That's funny. And it's like, you're in charge of something people care about, I guess. Like it's so frustrating. Taika
Right, and the worst part is probably the viewers are kind of like propping that up and going like, oh, he's so humble. Look at that. He's able to laugh at this, all of the mistakes and all that stuff. And it's like, no, that is like really, really bad. Just like you said, it's just like, don't take pride in that.
It's this. Or go ahead, Cider.
Well, you know, in China they have these crazy accidents because nobody maintains anything and nothing's really built last to begin with. So it's like that bus driver that just plowed through like a whole line of traffic. It was doing like 60 miles an hour and just wham right through an intersection, dude. And it's like that guy getting out and being like, "Whoops,
yeah,
I didn't see the red light. That's my bad."
Whoa. Like, that's my
help
bus?
you get your legs out of the tree.
Yeah.
You know,
he's not even doing that. He's saying, "Oh, well, your legs are in the tree. Can you give me that ticket money? Like, you still owe me for the bus fare." Like, here's the Taika kind of embodies this giant problem we have in sort of like not even just Western, actually, yeah, like American culture specifically, our entertainment media, which is at some point out of Gen X and the 2000s, it became very cool to not care about anything, right? Like, to show any earnest appreciation for your friends was lame. To show earnest enjoyment of comic books or anime was lame. If you liked something that everybody was making fun of, lame, blah, 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 blah. And now that's just sort of where we're all at. I don't even really know what I'm trying to say here. I'm sort of just rambling because I don't know.
Your brain's melting, trying to make sense of tiny IKEA Waititi.
Tiny IKEA Waititi. And I also like that you call him IKEA Waititi, because it's like, yeah, all of his movies are billed by part. Like, they're all the exact same.
And there's always stuff left over that shouldn't be left over.
There's always one thing, like that's sort of like the reason we don't have romantic comedies anymore. I saw somebody discussing this on Twitter. They're like, why don't we get romantic comedies anymore? And Jacob's brought this up before. Like, I know he's brought it up when he watched what was that Jennifer Lawrence movie? That was like, but it was.
I mean, I've mentioned it on multiple occasions, but the short answer is because Hollywood does not know how to write romance nor comedy. That's why you don't get rom-coms anymore.
Well, that's exactly it. Because, like, look at everything nowadays has to come with like a wink or like an admission that was like, oh, that was lame. So you can't have some guy earnestly falling head over heels for a girl without, oh, isn't this so dumb that he's falling for a girl? Or you can't have comedies about the jokes because everybody sort of like nowadays in old movies or like in old comedies, you would have had just, you make your joke and they keep going, blah, 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 blah. And it's just sort of like running gags the entire time. Nowadays, it almost feels like they're pausing both for laughter and for like social applause.
They're looking at the camera without looking at the camera.
Yes, that's exactly it, Cider. That's the perfect description. And it's like,
yeah,
how do I get
on
invested if that's how you act?
on one hand, with rom-coms, you have Hollywood's new rule of heterosexuality is not allowed. So you can't have a movie where a guy meets a girl and they fall in love and have kids, because Hollywood doesn't want to promote stuff like that anymore. So that's one problem. And then you have their current idea of comedy, which if it's not like Seth Rogen getting high and doing his stupid ass laugh, then it's essentially them making jokes about like the patriarchy or pronouns or something like that.
Dude, we can't even get like weed drug jokes anymore, because now it's like so accepted and everybody uses it that it's just like, okay, it's not even it's super lame. But like that reminded me of something I was thinking about the other day, Jacob, because you, like all of us here on the panel and across the sphere, there have been so many discussions about like who are these writers? Who are they making this stuff for? Like, why do they destroy every character? Why can't they do romance, blah, blah, blah. And I came to this realization the other day that like, it's all just people who hate their dads. It's all people just working out their own personal daddy issues. And like, we've said personal issues before, but like specifically their daddy issues out on the screen. And I don't know, like my more conservative take is like, we need more like stronger families so that we don't get all these messed up homes that produce idiots like this. It won't stop the flow of bad content. We've always had bad content, but it would definitely stem the tide. And on the other hand, it's just like, you know, my more liberal view is stop hiring these people. Just fire them already.
Did you see Passengers?
Was that the Chris Pratt one?
Jennifer Lawrence,
Chris Pratt. Yeah, did you see that? That's a complete that's psychotic. That is not okay in any way, shape, or form. There is no like that should not have ended that way. That should have ended like a horror movie where he's chasing her through the ship trying to kill her. Because that was absolute. Exactly. If you don't know, what happens in the movie is Chris Pratt wakes up early because they pass through some like a space fart and it makes the ship go wibbly wobbly and it wakes him up. Well, he goes a little stir crazy over this and starts going through Passengers list and he finds Jennifer Lawrence and he says, hey, that's pretty bangable. And he's like screwing around trying to wake her up. He woke her up and he make up a story that, the same space fart that woke me up woke you up. We're 99 years early, so it's just going to be you and me forever, toots. And then they find out that he tampered with her stuff. And apparently she just has to get used to her stalker owning her because she's stuck in space with it. It's a horrible message. And at the end, they're like, oh, they had kids and they like colonized the ship together.
That's the most insane part.
Hold on. There's a whole colony of inbred humans that aren't accounted for with the supplies that were sent with this thing.
Not only that, they had to build like build like some BS excuse of, hey, actually the ship was gonna blow up anyway, so it's a good thing you woke her up before you guys got there
because you needed help to do this. Yeah, like the
space fart screwed it up. Right? Yeah,
so bad that movie. That was supposed to be like everybody was like, oh, Jennifer Lawrence is so deep in this movie. This is so good. And I was like, I
was excited about it. The advertisements made me believe that this was going to be like one of those really like, two people stuck on a ship together and working that out together. But then it was like, no, Chris Pratt was just taking the fat game too hard and like, really ruined some lady's life.
Immediately too, right, Sire? It's like, they don't even like, it's not even like a twist at the end where maybe Jennifer Lawrence is going through logs or something and is like, the
whole time.
Yeah, that's the catalyst of the plot, and you're supposed to be rooting for him. It's so weird.
And it's like all he did was get horny on Maine, and that's it. That was the whole that was the whole crux of the story. He got horny on Maine, and that was it.
But see, like again, that's the extent of what Hollywood knows about romance. You ask them to make a romance, they write a weird stalker story because they don't have healthy relationships with other human beings. Their dads were not there.
I'm just telling you.
They don't have healthy relationships themselves. So what would they know about romance to begin with? It's just like when Billy Eichner tried to do a rom-com last year, that Bros movie. It's like, what the hell does Billy Eichner know about romance in his life? It's like, come on.
So my mom, or go ahead. Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, because of course I went to the toilet when you were talking about that. So I was like, oh god. The one thing that I wanted to bring up like 5 minutes ago. Well, in regarding comedy, for instance, just think about the South Park. Think about the creators, Matt and Trey, right? They wrote all the characters based on somebody else because that was funny. They thought that was funny. Same with the Simpsons, right? So you have Matt Groening basing all the characters on his family, right?
Right.
But now everything it's just like, oh no, I'm gonna base this funny character, I'm the funny character. This happened to me, so everybody should find it funny because I found it
it's
funny.
Me. It's my stuff.
It's right. So it's like that kind of thing. It's it's literally self-inserts, and that's exactly what doesn't really make it funny. Seth Rogen comedies, no, it's bad because it's just his own life experiences that I just can't relate to that. It's not funny.
Honestly, that's a really good point about Seth Rogen movies, especially like not even recently, but I'd say starting with like Neighbors. And maybe I just aged out of that sort of mentality he always has in his movies.
It started with Green Hornet, dude. The same attitude was in Green Hornet. That party boy can't touch me thing was in Green Hornet.
With John Cho. I watched that. I watched that movie. That's the worst part about the Mario movie, by the way. Like, Seth Rogen, about Seth Rogen. Yeah. Just hearing that stupid laugh coming out of Donkey Kong on like the giant screen just makes it not only does it pull me out of it, but it enrages me. It actively enrages me.
It makes me want to pull an orange hat.
Oh.
And oh gosh. For that deep lore, you got to go to the Barroom podcast.
Yep.
All right. So that's obviously it's sort of our bread and butter here over at Bounding, over at everywhere in the sphere. Marvel is dying, and they're not going to recover anytime soon. A Young Avengers show is not like all the stuff we saw on Flip's account that he was talking about. Canceling Vision Quest, canceling She-Hulk, and a Young Avengers show. None of this stuff. It's all Band-Aids to the real issue, which is like Jacob was saying, like it's the talent, it's the people at the top, it's Hollywood, right? So until we start seeing that general cultural shift at the top, get ready for, I don't know, who's Echo's probably going to have a girlfriend, huh? Like, let's just be real. She's probably going to have a girlfriend.
There's a reason why I keep saying possibly gay, because it's likely she's going to be gay, or that's going to be the reveal at some point of the story. So
it's going to be, I'm not genuinely excited for it. I'm excited because it's going to be bad, and I'm going to be able to watch and listen and read Jacob's takes on it because it's going to be
we're dedicating an entire Barroom episodes purely to Echo. We'll be reviewing all 5 episodes.
Oh heck yeah, I am there for that. But
Vincent D'Onofrio is going to be his girlfriend.
Oh, dude, they try
Trans
to keep
Kingpin. They'll call him the Queen Pin. The grape with a K. Queen Pin. KWEEEN.
It's gonna be It's gonna be Bullseye. It's gonna be Bullseye, right? But they'll call it like Brown Eye or something, and that'll be.
It'll be Bullseye, but it'll be gender swapped, and it'll be a black lesbian with the other leg missing.
No, all you have to do is just get a gay get a gay actor to play Bullseye. Then you can't call him Brown Eye. So there you go.
Oh.
That's what I was going for. Thank you. Somebody got it. But
Booty hole Brown.
Exactly. It all links back to the butt. But I think as we are winding down on our show here, I think we can get into our last story of the night. Cider, if you would like to pull up the there's also this by Iman Vellani, which is something. Yeah, let's hit on this really quick. Iman Vellani straight up is smarter than anybody working at Marvel. So she gave an interview recently to the Direct, and they basically asked her, hey, now that you're in Marvel, you want to like give us some insight, blah, blah, blah. What do you think is the key to saving all this? How do we get the franchise back to the Endgame level hype? And according to Vellani, it is not more cameos. It is not crossovers. It is not Jonathan Majors being the biggest, baddest thing ever. It is literally just focusing on your characters. So asked the question about how do you boost us back up to Endgame levels of excitement, Vellani straight up said, quote, I don't know. I don't know if it's about just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because then like what's left? I think it's just about making the audience care about the characters. And I think they've established so many wonderful characters in the last phase of the MCU, and it would be nice to see them all again and see them team up. That's debatable. That's very debatable. Villani continued, quote, I think because there are so many new characters, people want to like start non-romantically shipping people together and be like, oh, seeing Kamala and the Red Guardian together, like imagining all these pair-ups. And I think that would definitely pay off. It'll be like, the next Avengers, which again, she's working sort of with the material she has, but that's that's kind of what we've all been shouting to the rooftops for ages. Just stop with the blue sky beams, stop with the world is ending every day, and just give us like a crime fighting story.
No, guys, for real this time.
Dude, Eternals, again, there's a giant celestial sticking out of the earth and nobody's addressing it. Just nobody wants to talk about it anymore. Like that's where we're at with Marvel, where they're
why not look, that thing is the size of an island. It's like it's at least the size of a Hawaiian island that they like live on, okay?
And
so
it stretches into the stratosphere. Like it is changing our
here's
orbit.
a great adventure. Okay, here's a great adventure for Kamala and the Young Avengers. They do a Pokemon dungeon crawler kind of adventure inside of that thing. You find like Hydra pockets, you find like Soviet pockets inside of it, Shield and Sword are building things inside of it. Yeah, so you just make like this hodgepodge of Avengers kids, right? By meeting each other inside of this thing. And you have like a quasi Hunger Games situation going on where they're trying to avoid all the other parties inside while they figure out why everybody's tunneling into the Celestial to begin with. And
I actually really like that idea. I think that's great, but unfortunately, Cider, that's not going to fit into the 6-episode series where we have 3 of the episodes dedicated to Kate asking out America Chavez to prom. It's just not going to work.
It is very important that takes 6 episodes. We don't want to rush their romance. We don't want to do that.
6 episodes.
The fans will not tolerate rushing that romance. The shippers out there.
You can't queer bait when it comes to Kate Bishop and America Chavez. They'll get angry.
I mean,
yeah, you got to deliver. That's right.
What are you going to do? Watch me.
Bait. You got to deliver.
But that's the thing. That's the thing with that specific demographic of idiots, guys. Is like they keep getting baited. They keep getting baited every single time, and they don't learn, and they keep getting upset about it. Like,
what if
I don't know what to tell you guys.
What if they were really crazy, right? What if they were really, really, really crazy? And America Chavez meets the kid that helped Iron Man rebuild the suit, and they start dating. Well, that'd be really crazy. Whoa.
That goes in the line of the what would be really subversive and exciting and groundbreaking? Just doing a genuine, accurate adaptation. That would honestly blow everybody away, right?
Yeah. Licensing nightmare, but yeah, it'd be great.
I mean, they've already got they're Disney. They'll just put you in a gulag if you don't really want to help them out. But I mean, they did that on Mulan, right? In China. But yeah, I like that idea, Cider. I think that's one of those original ideas that gives it a framework, an actual plot. But it's not. We haven't seen that from Marvel. The Marvels is basically the exact opposite of what you're talking about. It is just a mashup of scenes where things happen and then it ends. and so that's just all that to say. That's where we are now.
You sit down and you build a 6-story set. Just build a 6-story set. Bottom floor is water, top floor is open, and you dress it up to look like some weird, glowing marble cave. And you just let these people go crazy inside of it with a bunch of cameras everywhere. It'd be great.
You just reminded me, that, obviously, that will involve volume and everything. And I hate volume and over the holiday, I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3 with my family on their giant nice TV, and I just sat there and I'm like, I can tell this is volume, and this is not nobody's on a set. Just bring back a set. Why can't we have sets anymore? It's not that hard. But yeah, that's what
I just want to point out. I just want to point out the reason I have a theory on why they're not doing sets. It's not just because of the cost; it's because of the insurance. I really think it's because of the
Okay.
insurance. When you have people like on a strap and they're like dangled 30 feet above the air, that's pretty expensive to get somebody up there. But they're just like 2 feet off the ground on one of those volume thingies that follows you around, and no problem.
Well, you know, that's a
Dramatically
really
less problems.
that's actually really interesting to bring up because we do know that obviously it might be going through different companies or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like as an entity, Marvel, Disney has had a lot of mishaps on set in recent years. I know there have been various arm injuries, various leg injuries, da 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 da. But then like I think about Zazie Beetz' stunt double from Deadpool 2, who straight up died because their stunt went wrong. So
Yep.
like I think you might actually be nail it, like hitting it right on the head, Cider. That's pretty freaking
Sony
hilarious.
went through so much effort to build this new artificial film structure they have now. They showed it off in that demo with the Ghostbusters animation.
Yeah,
They wanted to
saw
show you
that.
all the extras and the vehicles and the environments without having to have like an actual set, an actual space. You have just a green screen handle all. And it's a live capture 3D thing. So you have everybody who's supposed to be CG'd up alongside everybody who's not supposed to be in this completely artificial environment that simulates mostly what reality looks like in real time as you're going. So you don't have to wait like 6 days or 3 hours even. You just look through the viewfinder and you're like, okay, that looks good.
Oh, look, I'm there. I'm on
Move the
Tatooine.
sun over there. I'd like to do a sunset scene. You know, that's what they do with this.
But then, oh, that's so funny, Cider, because then I'm reminded of the Taika video, and it's like, yeah, they go, oh, can I move the sun over there? And everybody goes, yeah, you know, click, drag and drop. But then nobody fixes like the lighting sources on the props or the actors themselves. Yeah,
exactly.
So you're
you
like,
the sun over
sun's
here,
over there,
right?
Yeah.
And the lighting's over here too. So it's like, hold on, are they on Tatooine now?
Also, quick aside, because it's not as bad as that. It's not as egregious.
It's all
but
aside.
Yeah, welcome to 01.
It's just a 2-hour sidebar. That's what the whole show is.
So many movies nowadays are doing day for night, and it always looks bad. Stop doing day for night. Like Cocaine Bear, if anybody saw that movie, like that last scene in the cave or whatever, that's all day for night, and you're just like, this is very obviously daytime.
Hey,
like
I got a surprise for you. How about night for day?
Night for day? Ah, finally the sun has risen on the race swapping trend. We finally have gone the opposite way. We have
full
gone
circle.
day into night. So
we're actually shocked that there's a white guy in this movie now. Yeah, no,
right?
It's stunning.
That is genuinely, like, it is a genuine surprise. That's why it's in the headline. So if anybody didn't catch the news over, I think it was just earlier this week or maybe last week, but James Gunn, obviously, you know, chugging along over there, maybe, we don't really know, at DC Studios on
chugging
his new
something.
plans. He's right. He's got a couple friends who he could probably hit up for that. But over the past weeks, we have gotten casting news for Jimmy Olsen in Superman Legacy, and genuine shock, it is a redheaded white guy. So if you guys have ever seen the show Righteous Gemstones on HBO, it's a pretty funny show. I enjoy it, but he plays Gideon Gemstone in that show. He's fantastic. But this is James Gunn's pick for Jimmy, and not only is it surprising that he isn't race swapped, because that's what they do to every side character nowadays, but there's been a trend in recent years of every like any new interpretation of Jimmy, any new adaptation, Jimmy is always black. There are some movies that are direct adaptations of the comic books, and some that are set in like the old DCAU and stuff. So they have Jimmy there, but he's as a background character, right? You see redheaded Jimmy, but he's sort of on the side. Meanwhile, in Supergirl, in My Adventures with Superman, in what was that movie? Superman, Batman, Battle of the Super Sons, all these roles where Jimmy is front and center, actually has something to do, is actually talking to people. He's always been race swapped. So like the fact that we got a redhead, what was that one? I missed that.
Oh, this one? Yeah. And Leslie
yeah.
Tarkin says, as a natural
Yes.
ginger, I now feel represented.
And is that not what we're trying to do here in Hollywood, Leslie? Are we not trying to make everybody feel welcome and represented? Don't you finally have somebody to look up to now that they look just like you? I even just noticed he has green eyes. That's pretty good.
Gingers quite literally have somebody on screen who looks just like them now.
For as long as that lasts, unless he gets killed off and replaced, maybe he shows up at the very beginning and then he gets hurt and he has to pass off his powers of photography.
So,
could you imagine? Can you imagine he dies like 5 minutes into the movie?
I can believe it.
Yeah, because it already happened. That was what I was to say. In Batman vs Superman, Jimmy Olsen is killed in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and he's white. So
that Jimmy always makes me mad because I don't think they ever really identified him as Jimmy until like afterwards.
He probably had like a badge, and
I know that probably right. It was
Jimmy
probably
Olsen.
some small thing. Because I remember watching that movie.
But he was like, oh no, he's CIA, so he's not really the reporter, and that the name is probably fake.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what they pulled. And I remember like coming out of that movie and like looking up things afterwards and being like, wait, that was Jimmy? Not only did I not know that, but they really kind of pooped on him. Like they did not treat him right.
Get pooped on, dude.
I mean, isn't that normally? I mean, speaking of day for night, night for day. But so at this point, so I bring up this topic not just to sort of marvel at a literal unicorn in this day and age, but to sort of ask all of you here, everybody on the chat, blah, blah, blah. So far, Gunn has been pretty accurate to his casting of Superman Legacy. Lois is white, brunette. Superman is brunette, white. Lex is white. You've got white Guy Gardner. You've got Hispanic. I think she's Hispanic, the actress at least. Engineer. Like you've got. I don't know which version of Hawk Girl they're doing, so that's out in the air. But you've got Hawk Girl is around in there. You've got Metamorpho. You have this is what kind of super blew me away. So there is a very minor character in the Superman mythos called what's her name? Like Tessmacher. I don't like Miss Tessmacher.
Yes.
She was
she's
I can never say her name right. Yeah.
She's Luthor's like bodyguard servant lady, right?
Yeah, sort of like her his Smithers almost, but way more capable, right?
Yeah.
And so she's in the comics, but she's most prominent back in the Reeves movies. And like Sider said, she's sort of his assistant, his right-hand man. She's also been regularly portrayed as like sort of like a femme fatale. But
wait, I got that mixed up. KJ, right? Mercy is the one who I'm thinking of.
You're thinking of Mercy. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's my bad.
So
okay, yeah.
Mercy
but
is
this
like
Tessmacher was the cutesy. I want to date you,
Yes.
Lex. I want to be your mod. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. his Twitch simp. Yes, that's exactly
his Guma.
Yeah. Yep. I want to be your Gabagool.
And I want to buy your cookies for $30. No,
$30.
But so Tessmacher, whatever. We all know it's somewhere. That lady. She, she's like a cutesy character. She's bright. She's attractive. Blah blah blah. She's actually being played by a Victoria's Secret angel, like a straight up like bombshell of a woman. What is her name? Because she also, so her name is Sarah Sampio. That's the model's name. She's been in a bunch of stuff. I mean, probably not things we've all watched because it's all mostly like modeling runways or whatever.
Well, yes, because we're fine, upstanding gentlemen who do not deviate from the word of God.
Never.
You're right.
Never.
You're right.
I have never let my thoughts stray. But
well, we all smoke our smoking pipes and wear our monocles.
when I go to bed, I have a long cap. I have a little candle. I go. That's me. But so the character.
I have a nightcap too, but mine's a little different.
I wear a top hat and laugh at the pores.
Oh, does somebody get cracked? Oh.
Exactly.
But they're so
suck.
The character in the movies and comics and stuff is a blonde woman, but the model herself is a brunette. So I'm gonna pull this up real quick. I am sharing my screen already. So this is her. Her name is Sarah Sampio. She's a model. She's obviously attractive. Yada yada yada. But the one thing wrong is that she isn't like naturally blonde. But when I was talking with Josh about this, I found this picture of her where she's like playing around with like a blonde wig. She looks fantastic. Like this, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to like leave the theater when she's on screen at this point. But all of this is sort of more generally to say. Oh, let me bring back Cider. Cider's graphics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got this. I know how to do this. So with all of that said, sort of my big question here is, can we trust James Gunn? Do you guys trust James Gunn? Does any of us do anything to sort of to change your opinion?
Good night, everybody.
Yep, right. Goodbye. See you next week.
This whole effort that he's doing right now is to fluff up the DC assets for the Comcast sale. I would really, I'm going to be surprised if this movie goes into production, like real deal production, other than having everybody sit around and read a script in a room. I would really surprise. I honestly think this is all just to say, look at us. We're doing great things, Comcast. Please, for the love of God, buy us. You know, because the other
we
thing
have
is
a lot of debt.
The other thing is that let's say they go and they make this movie, right? If you're not familiar with the engineer, she's basically Brainiac. She's just female Brainiac. That's basically what she is. And so she loses touch with her humanity, that whole situation. So yet another Superman villain that's a machine. Anyway, you know what they're going to do with that. They're going to give her the backstory that they had with Maleficent. That it's a villainess that did not choose this path, but was defiled or forced into this way of thinking to believe that the whole world must be destroyed in order to have peace of mind, that sort of thing. And so Superman's morality will be called into question as he has to battle this aggrieved woman who is only a victim of her circumstance and not truly evil at her core. And that's what the whole, and it's going to be like the most empty freaking conflict you've ever seen because James Gunn doesn't know how to write it. He look at all the Guardians movies. What are the conflicts? The characters themselves, the heroes themselves have like worse conflicts. The villains are just there to chase them between scenes like Scooby-Doo villains in a hallway.
Let's not talk about James Gunn and Scooby-Doo. I mean,
fair enough.
Right? That's actually a really good point. But that makes me super sad, Cider, because like I was like listening to you, the realization set in that like, yeah, you're probably right. Like in my article, I even because Jacob talks about it all the time, how it's all just buffing things up to get sold to somebody. Comcast, obviously the front runner. So like I wanted to put that in the article. I didn't know how to word it appropriately, so I left it out. But like I'm on that train, and then you say that sort of plot synopsis, like potential, you predict it, and I can believe it. And it makes me really, really sad because
sorry.
No, it's okay because the rumors of what the supposed story is supposed to be is sort of an unknown conflict. Sort of brings all the heroes that are in Legacy, you know, like Guy Gardner, engineer, blah blah blah, all brings them to sort of a head, and they're all sort of battling to solve the situation in their own way. And I thought, like, you know, I was reading that rumor and I was like, okay, maybe I could get behind that. I could be interesting. And now I'm just like, no, it's not going to happen. If it doesn't,
Guy Gardner's going to be a punching bag. You know what they're going to do to him. He's going to be the comedic punching bag that shows up and says, I got this, toots. Listen, lady, I don't care if you're on your period or nothing. You can't take over this town. And she just obliterates him out of the movie. Just you sexist, and just ejects him into the sun.
Well,
it's going to happen.
Hey, oh, bada boo.
Yeah, exactly. The Irish version of that.
My first point is that if anybody here has seen Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, I genuinely feel that Nathan Fillion's just going to be his character Captain Hammer from that, who is just like, you know, I'm big, dumb, strong. Yes, lady, like that kind of character, right? Like Megamind almost, like that movie. And two, Cider, to your point, I can definitely see that happening because what do we know? What happens when a Green Lantern is killed? The ring goes away, right? Like it finds somebody new. That's how you set up whatever Green Lantern series you're going to do. Like I can see it all sort of just like sliding into place, and none of it's good.
No. They won't kill Guy. They won't do that. He's an Irishman. They have to keep him around to continue kicking him, to continue humiliating him. So what that spinoff is going to be is him going back there. What's going to happen is he's going to go back to Oa, and it's going to be like that disgraced cop coming back. And so Guy has to earn his stripes again after getting whooped by the engineer.
And he's going to be teamed up with the actual good cop, John
exactly.
Stewart. Like that's the one, like we already know that's going to happen. That's not.
And the Guardians will be like, "This one will set you straight, Guy Gardner. Perhaps he'll clean up your mouth too." You can see it. You can see them doing this dumb crap to make Guy Gardner the bad guy in this situation. You could see it all.
That's already how DC has been treating him over the past few years. Guy doesn't, since the last good thing they did with him was like in 2014 or whatever, 15, when he was a Red Lantern and he was sort of leading that corps. Great story. It shows his humanity, gets into his family, blah, blah, blah. Nowadays, he is literally just punching bag. He shows up to get made fun of by everybody else. It's like Sider is accurate.
And again, like you're going to have Jon Stewart standing off to the side, like, they're right, you do need some human resource training. You need some sensitivity training, Guy. You are
have
absolutely
to do better, Senator.
Right. You're a loose cannon out there, Guy. You know what this ring means. You can hear it coming out of him right now.
Oh no. What if in Legacy, it's before John has his ring or whatever. So Guy Gardner like crash lands or something in front of Jon Stewart, and like there's that exchange, like, you have to do better, Green Lantern, or whatever. And then it's like, there's the little hint that he will do better when he becomes John or whatever. Like,
you can do that, but I know what they'll do instead is that they'll have the Marine in Jon Stewart be the better leader than the Green Lantern in Guy Gardner in this situation. Be more experienced with the battlefield. Somehow a guy that flies through space to police a whole quadrant of the galaxy is going to be less experienced with crowd control than a retired U.S. Marine. That's how they're going to do it. Accurate. That's how they're going to do it.
Plus, if the rumors are to believe, that conflict I was talking about that brings them all together, it happens in the Middle East. Not maybe Kondak, they haven't confirmed it, but it's like, boom, John's right there. Like, John, you have an excuse for him to be
and there. Guess who's the loud, rude white guy? Guy Gardner.
Oh, it's almost like Nathan Fillion just played that role in Guardians 3, if you guys have seen that. Like, that's the role he's going to play, where he was like dumb, brash, but in charge. Like we've seen it.
He's just going to have like a Queen's accent on him. That's it. And be obligatorily Irish, talk about potatoes a lot,
I don't know. The people, they're not liking the Irish lately. The Irish are kind of not on the progressive fun list right now. But yeah, like, or go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, a bunch of right wing terrorists, that Conor McGregor.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Conor.
If you don't know, he's running for prime minister over there.
Oh, he's actually running. I didn't know he was running. I thought he was just commenting on
No, he's running.
The Troubles Part 2.
I mean, when it's between the government that's trying to silence you and jail you for speaking out against them versus a literal cracked out Irish MMA fighter, the MMA fighter might win. So
we just saw a man who uses chainsaws to illustrate his economic policy win big.
Oh yeah,
down in Argentina. Down in Argentina.
Or whatever his name is, I don't know it.
Yeah,
I can see him.
I don't, whatever, crazy guy with chainsaw.
He's got the Peter Parker 70s hair. That's what.
70s hair guy. Yeah, but that's just the thing. So like, I don't see why not, right? Like Conor McGregor coming out and be like, "Oh, you fucking cabbage!" He just calls people cabbages and he'll win. My opponent's a cabbage. I'm not even going to debate him. You couldn't win in a fight, mate. I just swing my fist and you fall over. You should vote for me or I'll punch you.
And then after he yells that across the aisle, he's going to jump into like the main room, be like, come over here. Like, we're going to see chairs thrown in whatever their version of Congress is. I have no idea.
It'd be great.
Oh, that's right. Aren't they disgusting Londoners or Britishers technically because they're United Kingdom?
No,
right, Josh?
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't
Josh
care.
knows. He lives there, right? No.
Well, I mean, there's your typical English-Irish relation. What do you know, Josh? I don't care.
Yeah,
But-
this would literally be Connor
Oh,
during a
yeah.
live prime minister debate.
He looks like a little breakdancer or something, a little 12-year-old breakdancer, bitch. What the fuck? He's 40. You're 40 years of age. Dress your fucking age. Carrying a school bag on stage. What are you doing with a school bag on stage? You can't even read.
Mr. McGregor, you were asked what your tax policy is, sir. You were asked what your tax policy is.
Mr. McGregor, this is a vote on a children's daycare. Sit down. No, I also feel like Connor only has that literal one suit, like that blue plaid suit. Like that's all he ever wears.
You know how much
Or
money he
maybe
spent on that
those are
suit?
Yeah, probably all everything that was left over after the chair
cocaine
throwing lawsuit, or that too.
Oh yeah.
More money than he spent to fix his leg, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, can you? I don't even like thinking about that. But
You're welcome.
obviously, yeah. Now I get to go squeal like off stream, but I can see that my camera is clearly doing its weird focus thing. So I think that's a good as time as any to start winding down the show. Obviously, let's start by seeing what everybody's got going on. Jacob, what have you got going on?
So I just got back from watching Godzilla -1. I'm not gonna tell you what I thought about it yet, but I do have a review and a video review coming up about the film that you'll see here on this channel. So that is down the pike, and we'll talk about that on our Friday Night Movie Club on my channel, Society Reviews, on Friday night. Monday night Bible Lens podcast. Perhaps in 2 weeks I can get John on and talk about the difference between Catholics and Protestants and the view of Mary. So that could be a great debate or an absolute shit show. We'll just have to wait and figure out which one it's going to be. And
the first hour we'll have you two like separated, and then the next hour we'll put you in a room with like one knife and just see what happens.
You'll do fucking nothing.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know how to read the Bible.
So yeah, that's what we got coming up. And then, like I said, next Tuesday night, every Tuesday night, we do the Ballroom podcast. So that's all I got coming up at the moment.
Awesome, pretty solid. Cider, what have you got going on, my man? Now that you're finally officially on the panel.
The Dank Stream with John Delarose most days. Just search hashtag Dank Stream on Twitter. I put it out there. And I upload stuff to Bounding now, apparently. So check me out over there, I guess. Probably.
Yeah. I mean, I sort of mentioned it at the top. I guess I admit I didn't give it the proper gravity, but guys, Cider is not just our producer, quote unquote, for the stream anymore. He is Bounding's full video content production lead guy. I don't know your official title. I have it written down.
I don't know my title.
I know it because I know it because I came up with it with Shauna, but it's written down somewhere. But yes, Cider is
somewhere.
Officially, yeah, it's. I have notes.
It's in somebody's drawer. Don't worry.
Right.
Yeah, don't worry. That's a legal document, or like that. What is that? Like it's legally tenable. That this folded up, crumbled paper I have over on the side over here. Don't worry, you're fine. But yeah, so Cider
Tube Master.
Yes, Cider is our Tube Master now. You heard it here first, folks. Everything when it comes to putting things through pipes, he's your man.
The internet is a series of tubes. Yes.
Oh my gosh! Now it's an old meme, but it checks out just like that same one I just used. But yeah, so guys, like I said at the top, check out Cider stuff. He's killing it so far. We hope give us your feedback. Let us know what you think. And yeah, like I'm happy Cider's on because he does fantastic work. Like that intro today, I was laughing, smiling the entire way through. So yes,
well, we're gonna play it again.
All this stuff. We will. We'll get there. Josh, what do you have going on?
I know I still need to edit some articles that I like voluntarily just decided not to edit today. There's an hold on. What are you gonna say, mate? Come on, say it to my face now.
You saying
get on it? Yeah, there we go. I'm trying to point down, but it's hard with the camera. I don't know.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I know there's an Alec Baldwin story that I want to cover as well that, I don't know, it wasn't really getting all that much traction. So I don't know how legit it is, but yeah, we'll see. And that's
you give it that traction. That's why you cover it, so you can give it that
I
traction.
want to make up. You're right. So I'm just going to make it up if it's not leading anywhere. It's just
whoa! You work for Bounding into Comics, not CNN. All right, we can't just go making up facts.
No, I think you mean Sports Illustrated, the ones who got busted for literally having fake writers and fake editors and doing fake articles that were all written by AI.
By them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
or CBR as well.
If Josh wants to make things up, he can just go work for Deadspin and start attacking random kids who are attending football games.
Yeah, who we found out now actually was Native American, which is even funnier.
It's so fantastic. I love it, and the guy is just doubling, tripling down. It's great. Go check out the Kansas City Chief kids controversy. It's hilarious. I'm sure Jacob will talk about it on the next episode of the Bar Room. But as for what I've got going on, obviously, trucking along with the site, I have a big role to fill. John is obviously not an easy act to follow, so I'm just putting my head down, hoping I can, make him proud, make you guys proud, make everybody, bring in more readers, blast us out there, just bigger, better, onward, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, check us out daily on Bounding into Comics. We'll have articles, we have tweets, we have videos, thanks to Cider. You can find me personally, same bat time, same bat channel, right back here for next week's episode of the 01 live stream. I don't know if we're going to call it a show, live stream, podcast. We'll figure it out.
The 01 thing.
The 01 thing. So yeah, check us out next week for the 01 thing. If you want more of me, on Fridays, I host a live stream talk show sort of thing over on my own channel, Studio Kabuto. I dive into more niche, nerdy, or not nerdy, that's wrong, because we're all nerds here, but more niche anime-y, Japanese-y sort of stuff, toku, anime, manga, nerdigans level stuff. So if you want, you can come check me out over there. That show happens Fridays, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And yeah, I think with that, we have one super chat from tonight that I think we should close out on. Earlier tonight, we had a $5 super chat from our good friend, CS Johnson. Quiet, Jacob. She said, for $5, CS said, congratulations to all of us, to all of our new roles, our future, and no spending this money on alcohol, Josh. We know you.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Josh doesn't get the purse.
I know.
We leave it with me, so I can just buy a bunch of anime girl figures. But with that, I will leave it to Cider to sign off, and I thank everybody for joining us for the first episode of the 01 thing, and we will all see you next week. Take it easy.
Later.
Media transmissions from Earth have polluted the Milky Way galaxy with completely unwatchable content. Fearing these signals will spread beyond our galaxy, Captain S and the 01 Legion have headed to Earth to destroy the source of this woke mind virus.